Hi, Grandma here. I'm reading David at Night. I'm going to begin with chapter 15. In chapter 14, we find out that Dave is being beaten by Mr. Bloom or Mr. Doom. Chapter 15. I scrambled away. The blow got me on my calf. Mr. Doom raised the yardstick. I twisted. The stick broke on the desk. He threw his half aside, clenched his fist, and came after me. I'll show you. One punch, I'd be dead. He wouldn't care. He was blocking the door. I couldn't get out. Help! I screamed, Papa! No help, no Papa. He swung, I ducked. His fist grazed my forehead. My ears rang. Soon he'd catch me. Nobody would save me. He swung, I ducked. Missed, reached for me with his other hand, missed. I had to get away. Couldn't. Maybe climbed onto his desk and might get around him. He bellowed. Filthy feet! Lunged at me. Nowhere to go. Back I'd fall and stumbled forward. He lurched, clutched at me, pulled me in. He had me. Face inches away. Red mouth open, sweaty skin, crooked glasses. Grabbed them, grabbed his specs, held them tight. What? Where? One arm let me go. Roar. My spec. Roar. Give me. Other arm had me. I squirmed, yanked, twisted, got free. Got free. Where? Roar. You'd better. Roar. Crossed the desktop, jumped off. Papa's carving knick-knack cabinet, rushed at it. Come. Roar. Wait till. Swung his arms, trying to find me. The cabinet was locked. I pulled at it. Things rattled. Locked. Feeling his way around the desk, opening a drawer, extra glasses. Run. Go. I dropped his spectacles and ran. Mr. Meltzer outside the door. Come on. He took my arm. I pulled away, shut the office door. He took my arm again. Inside, did he find his glasses? Was he coming? Mr. Meltzer led me to a staircase. I kept looking back. Was he coming? On the stairs, I made it up 3 steps and then stopped. I couldn't go any further. Mr. Meltzer waited. I should keep going. The stairwell door could open and Mr. Doom could be there. I didn't. Mr. Meltzer's voice was softer than usual, less bark in it. He was frowning. He always frowned. He coughed. You shouldn't have run away. Same old voice. I didn't run away. I came back, didn't I? But I would escape. I'd sworn it. I would escape. My knee trembled even though he'd hit me there. I couldn't make it stop. Ready? I looked up at the next landing. I took a step, then another, then another. We went into the infirmary. When she saw me, the nurse said, Bloom? Mr. Meltzer said he tried to run away. Smart kid. Mr. Meltzer didn't answer. He left and the nurse said Mr. Doom wouldn't come after me there. If I didn't need this job, she said, dabbing at my cheek with a soapy washcloth, she didn't finish the sentence. The soap stung, but the ice she put on my forehead felt good. When she cleaned off the cut on my leg, she said she had to call a doctor. While she gave the doctor's telephone number to the operator, I started to cry. Not because of Mr. Doom, because the nurse was so nice. Pretty stupid to cry because somebody was nice. The cut on my neck wasn't so bad, and the nurse was able to bandage it up herself. My ear and cheek didn't even need bandages. The bump on my forehead throbbed, but it wasn't bleeding, so it only got ice. When the doctor came, he sewed up the cut on my leg, 4 stitches. He asked where the other boy was, the one I fought. The nurse said she didn't know. For a second, I thought about telling him who beat me up. But if I did and Mr. Doom found out, he'd finish killing me. The doctor said it was terrible how the older boys picked on the younger ones. After the doctor left, the nurse made me stay in the infirmary. That was good. I was safe there. Sometimes I dozed, sometimes I watched her. Sometimes I'd touch my forehead or one of the bandages and she'd tell me to leave them alone. But mostly I kept my eyes closed and went over the fight, especially the moment when I knew Dr. Doom didn't care what he did to me. I went over and over the moments before he hit me when I knew he would, flinching, trying to get away, not knowing how bad it would be. Nobody had rescued me. I'd rescued myself. I remember taking his glasses, the sweat on his forehead, the glossy, slick feel of his nose. I thought of what Gideon had said when he left for Chicago, that I'd be all right. And I was. If Gideon had been in that office instead of me, he'd be dead. But Gideon wouldn't have been there. He wouldn't have had the guts to sneak out of the asylum in the first place. He wouldn't have let Mr. Doom get away with stealing Papa's carving. Don't think about Gideon or Papa. Think about how to rescue yourself, how to rescue the carving, and then yourself. Mr. Doom kept his office locked when he wasn't there, plus the cabinet was locked. Break the glass in the cabinet door wouldn't do any good. The panes were too small, separated by wood latticing that the carving wouldn't fit through. I needed the key. If I had dynamite, I'd sneak downstairs late at night and light it. The door to his office would blow in and I'd step inside. I'd open the top drawer of the desk. The key to the cabinet would be in there. I'd snatch the carving just as a gang of prefects thundered downstairs. I'd race outside and run to the oak tree, climb over it. Then I'd run and never look back. I'd find Irma Lee, and she'd be so glad to see me. By supper time, I was hungry, even though I ached all over, and the bump on my head never stopped throbbing. I ate with the nurse. The food was better than the glop they served in the basement, and she didn't eat any of my portion. After supper, she told me I could leave. It was 6:30. I didn't want to go, but I couldn't hide out in the nurse's office forever. I wondered if Mr. Doom was looking for me. I didn't see him. Everyone I passed stared at my bandages and the bump. The 11s were in the auditorium, but I didn't want to go there. I wanted to sleep. Our room was empty. When I put on my pajamas, I had to be careful not to rip the bandages off. In bed, I fell asleep instantly. I didn't hear the bell ring for the end of study hall or the end of recess, and I didn't hear the 11s come in. And I didn't hear the bell ring for lights out. First thing I heard was somebody whispering, "Dave, buddy," in my ear. Whoever it was also shook my aching shoulder. "Watch it," I said, feeling stiff. "Shh." All the 11s were crowded around my bed. "We want to know what happened, buddy." Mike bobbed up and down. "Tell us what Mr. Doom did to you." Somebody said it. In the dark, I couldn't tell who. Then he coughed. It was Alfie. "And why Mr. Meltzer took you to him," someone said. "Oh, he went out last night," Mike said. "So what, buddy?" The whisper was raspy. It must be that know-it-all Harvey. "We go out." He went out. Outside. Why were they asking me when Mike had all the answers? "Outside the fence?" somebody asked. Mike snapped his fingers, cracked his knuckles. "Naturally, outside the fence." "You know that oak tree near the fence?" I reached down to make sure the bandage was still in place on my leg. It was. A few heads nodded. Somebody said, "Yeah." "You know how one of the branches reaches over the fence?" No one said anything. "There's a crack in the trunk, this high up." I explained how I got out. Mike said, "See, I told you." "Where did you go?" one of the twins asked. "Did you go into St. Nicholas Park?" the other one said. "Oh, he wouldn't," the first twin said. "The park by St. Nicholas Terrace? Sure I did. Why not?" "They found a body in that last year," Mike said in his bed and bounced. "I did see something white on the ground," I said, hamming it up. "It could have been a bone." "I think there's poison ivy in there, buddy," Alfie said. He coughed. Nobody said anything till he stopped. "There were fang marks on the body," Eli said. "They say the murderer was an enormous wolf." Well, I did hear breathing, I said, but I thought it was the wind. But then, you know what? I saw those yellow eyes. Alfie started coughing again, and this time he didn't stop. Everybody ran back to bed. The door opened. Alfie, you need the nurse? He went on coughing, and Mr. Meltzer said he was taking him to the nurse. Then he yelled, when I get back, everybody better be asleep or else. He stopped at my bed. Here, I saved this for you. He dropped Sally's tie on my pillow and left. I heard Alfie coughing all the way down the hall. I pulled my suitcase out from under the bed and put the tie inside where the carving should have been. So now I had my fake grandpa's tie, but Mr. Doom had the only thing left of my real papa. Chapter 16. I got back in bed and closed my eyes. Why did you run away, buddy? Mike asked. They were all around me again. I didn't run away, I said, sitting up. He beat me up for running away, but I came back. The cut on my neck hurt. Anyway, do you like it here? Why did you come back? Eli asked. Before I could answer, Harvey, the know-it-all, said, he didn't have any place to go. Who would take him in? He's a whole orphan. 3/4, I said. There's no such thing. He wouldn't need anybody, Mike said, stopping the argument. He can take care of himself. Let him answer, buddy, Eli said. He doesn't, Harvey started. Shh, at least 5 boys said. Why does everybody call each other buddy? I asked. Lots of kids whispered at the same time. We're buddies, not bullies. We eat together, Mike said, sleep together, do everything together, but we're not brothers, so we're buddies. Eli said, we look out for each other. Gideon should hear about this. He might learn something. Then again, he was just a brother. Even if I'm a half and you're only a whole, Harvey said, I'll look out for you. So tell us why you came back, Mike said. Because of my papa's carving, buddy, I told him. And I told them where it was. Someone whistled. Someone else said, Oy vey. You can kiss your carving goodbye, buddy, Harvey said. You'll never get it back. Yes, I will, buddy. He thought he knew everything, but he didn't know me. How? Mike asked eagerly. Well, I didn't know yet, but I would. He won't get it, Harvey said, because it's impossible. We'll all work it out, Eli said. What did you do after you came out of the park? Well, first I saw a Pierce arrow. The lights came on. I froze. Mr. Doom had come to get me. Everybody scattered. It was Mr. Meltzer. I told you to go to sleep. I'm sitting right outside the door. If I hear so much as a loud breathing, you'll get no meals tomorrow. How's Alfie? Eli asked. Oh, just go to sleep. Mr. Meltzer turned out the lights and slammed the door. This time, everybody stayed in bed. Even though I'd been up most of last night, I couldn't fall asleep. The bump throbbed. I felt like the milkman's horse and cart had ridden over me. I rolled onto my stomach to get more comfortable, but that was worse. I rolled back. Sally might take me when I ran away for good. I could help him. I could feed Bandit. I could groan when I needed a groaner, when he needed a groaner. I'd ask him when we met for Ermeline's party. But how could I go to that party? I wouldn't be able to get out. Mr. Meltzer would be watching me like a hawk. In the middle of the night, I woke up from a dream. I dreamed I was in a room with a coffin. I went up to it and saw Papa was inside. He sat up. I said, "You're alive." But he said, "No, I'm dead." And I thought, this isn't so bad if I could still talk to him when he's dead. Then I woke up. My blanket had fallen off, and I was freezing except for the bump on my head, which felt hot. I had to go to the toilet. Mr. Meltzer was right outside the door, wide awake. He escorted me to the toilet and waited till I was done. I woke up once more before morning, Mr. Meltzer was standing over me. I sat up scared. "Go back to sleep," he said. "I was just making sure you hadn't gone anywhere." Alfie was waiting for us at our table when we got to breakfast. Before the bullies came, he showed us a bag of rock candy the nurse had given him. He said he'd share it at recess, and then he sat on the bag so the bullies wouldn't see it. When Mo arrived and saw my bandages, he didn't want his penny back. "It's unlucky. Good thing I loaned it to you, or I might have depended on it." "See, Mo," Eli said from across the table, "good deeds pay off. If you left our food alone, you might get even luckier." "Nah, I don't think so." I left the basement surrounded by my buddies. On the stairs, Mike was bobbing next to me, and Eli was right behind me. Eli said, "So what happened after you went through the park?" I saw. "Uh-oh," Eli said softly. I looked up. Mr. Doom stood on the landing above us. I turned to run back downstairs. Mike caught my arm. "Don't run," he whispered. "Don't run," Eli whispered. "Good morning, boys," Mr. Doom boomed. "Good morning, sir," everyone said, everyone but me. I moved my lips, but nothing came out. "Having fun with your pals, boys?" "Yes, sir." He saw me and started down the steps. Boys flattened themselves against the stairway walls to let him by. There were a million boys behind me. I couldn't run. He came closer, step by step. I fought to keep my breakfast down. "What's this, son?" He touched the bandage on my neck. I jumped down a step. Didn't he know? He gave it to me? Eli and Mike were mouthing words at me. I couldn't tell what they were saying. Mr. Doom's face started getting red. "Don't you know how to answer?" "A cut, sir, just a cut, sir." My voice was a squeak. "That's better. I hope you got it from playing, not from fighting." "Yes, from playing, sir." "Be more careful next time. I can't have my boys hurting themselves. Now get going or you'll miss your studies." I stumbled up the stairs. Didn't he recognize me? Was he that blind, even with his glasses on? Had he beaten up so many boys that we all looked alike to him? Or was he completely nuts? Well, now this is a good time for us to make a prediction. What do you think the answer is? Do you think he's really that blind that he doesn't recognize him? Do you think that he's beaten up so many boys he doesn't see any difference? Or do you think he is completely nuts? Well, maybe we'll find out in the next chapter. Bye-bye.